Her world changed when she learned that the human warrior was her rightful husband. Princess Zarathis stood at the tall window of the Crystal Palace. Looking out at her beautiful world, the purple sky of Eltar stretched above floating cities, made of living crystal. These cities glowed with soft light, connected by bridges that sparkled like diamonds. Everything looked peaceful and perfect, but Zarathis knew better. Fear filled her heart as she watched the stars. Each night, more stars disappeared from the sky. The void swarm was coming closer to her world. "Princess," came a voice behind her. "The Council of Matriarchs is ready for you." Zarathis turned around. Her long silver hair moved like water in the light, her skin had a soft blue glow, and her eyes were the color of deep space. She wore a dress made of crystal threads that sang quietly when she moved. "Thank you, Keeper Moths," she said. Her voice was calm, but inside she felt scared. The council chamber was a huge room with walls made of clear crystal. 7 old women sat in chairs that floated in the air. These were the matriarchs, the wisest leaders of Eltar. They had lived for thousands of years and knew many secrets. "Sit, child," said Elder Vashara, the oldest matriarch. Her voice sounded like wind through crystal caves. Zarathis sat in her chair. It rose into the air to join the circle. The other matriarchs looked at her with serious faces. "You know why we called you here," Elder Vashara said. "The void swarm moves closer each day. Our weapons cannot stop it. Our shields cannot hold it back." Zarathis nodded. She had seen the reports. Entire star systems had simply stopped existing. Not destroyed, just gone, like they had never been there at all. "But there is hope," said Elder Keshinda, the second oldest. "We have found the ancient prophecy in the deep archives." A crystal screen appeared in the air. Old words in the ancient language glowed on it. Zarathis could read some of it but not all. "What does it say?" she asked. Elder Vashara waved her hand. The words changed to modern language. "When the darkness that devours comes to claim the crystal world, only the heart of Eltar can stand against it. But the heart sleeps deep and will not wake alone. It needs the union of crystal and carbon, of thought and feeling, of the star children and the earth warriors. When the daughter of crystals joins with the son of struggle, the heart shall wake, and the darkness shall flee." Zarathis read the words twice. Then she looked up at the matriarchs with confusion. "I do not understand. What are earth warriors? And what does this mean about joining?" Elder Mathkala, who studied old books, spoke next. "We have learned much in recent days, Princess. The earth warriors are humans. They come from a small blue planet at the edge of our galaxy. They are very different from us." "Different how?" Zarathis asked. "They are small and weak," said Elder Kashinda. "They have no crystal technology. They cannot speak with their minds, like we do. They fight wars with metal weapons and exploding chemicals. They are very primitive." Zarathis felt confused. "Then how can they help us? Our technology is far beyond theirs." Elder Vashara's eyes glowed brighter. "The prophecy is clear, child. The heart of Eltar needs both our gifts and theirs. We have already acted on this knowledge." "What do you mean?" Zarathis asked, though she was starting to feel worried. 3 days ago, our ships captured a human warrior near the outer rim," said Elder Moth. "He commands other humans in battle. His name is Marcus Chen." The crystal screen changed. Now it showed a picture of a man sitting in a prison cell. He looked very different from the Veltari people. His skin was brown like earth, not blue like crystal. His hair was black and short. He had no glow around him, but his eyes were bright and intelligent. He sat very straight. Even in prison, he looked strong, but not in the same way as Veltari's strength. This was different. "He is the one?" Zarathis asked. "The prophecy speaks of union between our peoples," Elder Vashara said slowly. "You are the daughter of crystals, the heir to our throne. He is a warrior of earth. The ancient words are clear about what must happen." Zarathis felt her blood turn cold. "You mean ... marriage?" "Yes, child. You must marry this human. Only then can the heart of Eltar awaken to save our world." Zarathis stood up so fast, her chair almost fell. "No, this cannot be. I am a princess of Eltar. My bloodline goes back 10,000 years. I cannot marry some primitive warrior from a backward planet." "Zarathis," Elder Kezinda begun. "Look at him." Zarathis pointed at the screen. "He has no crystal light. He cannot even speak with his mind. His people fight with metal sticks. How can such a creature be worthy of our royal line?" Elder Vashara's voice became firm. "The prophecy does not ask if he is worthy, child. It says he is necessary. But surely there is another way," Zarathis said. Her voice shook with emotion. "Our scientists, our crystal masters, they must be able to find a different solution." "We have tried everything," said Elder Mothkala sadly. "The void swarm consumes all our weapons. It passes through our shields like they are air. 67 worlds have already fallen. We will be next unless the heart awakens." Zarathis looked around the circle of matriarchs. All their faces showed the same thing. They had already decided. "How long do I have?" she asked quietly. "The void swarm will reach us in 20 days, Elder Vashara said. "You must meet with the human tomorrow. Learn about him. Decide if our world is worth this sacrifice." Zarathis closed her eyes. She thought about her beautiful crystal cities. She thought about her people, with their songs and art and gentle ways. She thought about the children who played in the floating gardens. Then she thought about the empty spaces in the sky where stars used to shine. I will meet him, she said finally, but I promise nothing more. The matriarchs nodded. As Zarathis left the chamber, Elder Vashara called after her, remember, child, sometimes the future comes in forms we do not expect. Keep your mind open. But as Zarathis walked back to her rooms, her mind was not open. It was filled with anger and fear. How could fate demand this of her? How could the salvation of her world depend on joining with someone so different, so primitive? She looked out her window again at the night sky. Another star had gone dark while she was in the meeting. Time was running out for Veltar, and tomorrow she would meet the human warrior who might be their only hope. The next morning, Princess Zarathis stood outside the crystal prison deep beneath the palace. She had not slept well. Her dreams were filled with images of the approaching void swarm and the human warrior she was supposed to marry. Are you ready, Princess? Asked guard Captain Thelmas. He was a tall Veltari with crystal armor that glowed blue. No, Zarathis said honestly, but let us proceed anyway. The prison hallway was made of clear crystal walls. Each cell held dangerous criminals from across the galaxy. Most prisoners looked angry or afraid when they saw her royal robes, but when they reached the last cell, Zarathis stopped in surprise. The human warrior sat calmly on a simple bed. He was not trying to break the walls or shouting like the other prisoners. Instead, he was drawing something on the wall with a small piece of metal. That is him, she asked Captain Thelmas. Yes, Princess. The human calls himself Captain Marcus Chen. Zarathis studied the prisoner through the crystal wall. He was smaller than she expected. Most Veltari warriors were tall and graceful, with flowing robes and glowing crystal weapons. This human wore simple dark clothes. His body looked strong but compact, like a machine built for work rather than beauty. But his eyes were different. They were dark brown and very alert. When he looked up and saw her, those eyes studied her face with careful intelligence. He did not look afraid or angry. He looked curious. Open the cell, Zarathis commanded. Princess, are you certain? Captain Thelmas asked. He is very dangerous. He is one human without weapons, surrounded by our guards. Open it. The crystal wall became soft like water, creating a doorway. Zarathis walked into the cell, followed by two guards. Marcus Chen stood up slowly, keeping his hands where everyone could see them. He was shorter than Zarathis, but something about the way he moved made him seem larger. Your Highness, he said in accented but clear Veltari language. I am Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Federation Navy. Zarathis blinked in surprise. You speak our language? I have been studying it since my capture 3 days ago, Marcus replied. Your guards were kind enough to provide learning materials. She looked at Captain Thelmas, who shrugged. He asked for books about our culture. We thought it was harmless. In 3 days, you learned our language, Zarathis asked Marcus. Basic conversation. Yes, I am still learning your grammar rules. Marcus smiled slightly. Humans are good at adapting quickly when we need to. Zarathis felt confused. This was not what she expected. Where was the savage warrior, the primitive brute who fought with metal sticks? I suppose you know why I am here, she said, trying to sound royal and important. Yes, your people believe we must marry to fulfill an ancient prophecy and save your world from something called the Void Swarm. Marcus's voice was calm and matter-of-fact. And what do you think about this? She asked. Marcus looked directly into her eyes. I think your people are in great danger, and you are desperate enough to try anything, even trusting a primitive human. Zarathis felt her cheeks grow warm. We do not think, yes, you do, Marcus interrupted gently. Your guards told me many things about how Veltari view humans. Small, weak, stupid, violent, no crystal technology, no psychic powers, just primitive warriors from a backward planet. Well, that is. Zarathis struggled for words. It is partly true, Marcus said. We are not psychic. We do not have crystal technology. We do fight wars. But Princess, I have one question for you. What question? Marcus pointed to the drawings on the wall. Zarathis looked closer and saw they were not random scratches. They were detailed maps and diagrams. I have been watching your guards, studying your prison systems, learning about your technology, Marcus said. Your crystal walls are beautiful and strong. Your weapons can destroy starships. Your cities float in the sky like jewels. Very impressive. Thank you, Zarathis said, still confused. But if your technology is so advanced, why are you losing to the Void Swarm? The question hit her like a cold wind. Our weapons cannot what? Cannot adapt. Cannot change tactics when the first plan fails. Marcus walked to his wall drawings. From what your guards told me, you have tried the same strategy 67 times, on 67 worlds. The same weapons, the same defenses, the same approach. And 67 times, you have failed. Zarathis felt anger rising in her chest. You do not understand our situation. Then explain it to me, Marcus said calmly. Show me your defenses. Let me see how you fight. If I am supposed to help save your world, I need to understand what I am working with. You are in no position to make demands. Zarathus snapped. Marcus sat back down on his bed. Then find another solution. Princess, I will not blindly follow a prophecy without understanding the real situation. Too many people die when leaders make decisions based on hope instead of facts. Zarathus stared at him. No one had ever spoken to her like this. Even the mate treated her with respect and careful words. But this human spoke to her like an equal. You are very bold for a prisoner, she said. I am very careful for a soldier, Marcus replied. In my experience, desperation makes people do stupid things. I want to make sure this prophecy is not just a stupid thing born from fear. For several minutes, they looked at each other in silence. Finally, Zarathus made a decision. Very well, I will show you our defenses. But you will remain under guard. At all times, Marcus nodded. Acceptable. Captain Thelmas, arrange a tour of our military installations, Zarathus commanded. Princess, the matriarchs did not authorize. I am authorizing it. This human wants to understand our situation. Let him see it. 3 hours later, Zarathus stood with Marcus on the observation deck of Veltar's primary defense station. The massive crystal structure orbited high above the planet, bristling with energy, weapons, and shield generators. Impressive, Marcus said, studying the displays that showed weapon ranges and shield coverage. But I see several problems. Problems? Zarathus asked. This station can destroy a moon. But can it destroy something that exists and does not exist at the same time? Marcus pointed to a gap in the sensor coverage. Your shields face outward, protecting against normal attacks. What happens if the enemy appears inside your defense perimeter? That is impossible, said Commander Velthic, the station's leader. Is it? Marcus asked. The void swarm makes space itself unstable. Correct, normal rules do not apply. Commander Velthic looked uncomfortable. Well, yes, but And your communication systems, Marcus continued. All crystal-based, all connected to the main network. Very efficient. But what happens when the network is damaged? We have backup systems, the commander said. Marcus walked to another display. I see 3 backup systems, all using the same crystal frequency. If the enemy learns to disrupt that frequency, all your communications fail at once. Zarathus watched Marcus study their most advanced defenses and point out weakness after weakness. He suggested backup plans for backup plans, alternative communication methods, and tactical flexibility she had never considered. Your people think like artists, Marcus said to her as they toured the weapons systems. Everything is beautiful, elegant, perfect, but war is not perfect. War is ugly and messy, and changes every minute. You need systems that can adapt, not just systems that are powerful. By the end of the day, Zarathus felt confused and frustrated. Everything she had believed about humans was wrong. This man was not primitive or stupid. He saw patterns in their defenses that her own military commanders had missed. As they returned to the palace, Marcus spoke quietly to her. Princess, your people are not weak. Your technology is remarkable, and your civilization is beautiful. But you have lived in peace for so long that you have forgotten how to fight smart instead of just fighting hard. And humans know how to fight smart, she asked. Marcus looked sad. We have had lots of practice. Too much practice. My people have fought wars for thousands of years. We have learned to survive by adapting, by thinking of new solutions when old ones fail. That night, Zarathus sat in her room, thinking about everything she had seen and heard. The human warrior was nothing like what she expected. He was intelligent, thoughtful, and surprisingly wise about warfare. But could she really trust him with her world's future? And more importantly, could she trust him with her own? Outside her window, another star disappeared from the sky. Time was running out, and her decision was becoming more complicated with each passing hour. 3 days passed quickly as Princess Zarathus worked with Captain Marcus Chen to rebuild Veltar's defenses. What started as a reluctant partnership slowly became something neither of them expected. Each morning, they met in the Crystal War room deep inside the palace. The room was filled with floating displays that showed every defensive position on and around Veltar. Marcus studied these displays with the same careful attention he had given to everything else. Your shield generators are too close together, Marcus said on the 3rd day, pointing to a cluster of defensive stations. If the enemy destroys one, the explosion will damage the others. Commander Velthic shook his head. The shields work better when they overlap. This creates stronger protection. Against normal weapons? Yes, Marcus agreed. But the Void Swarm is not normal. It changes the rules of reality itself. You need shields that can work independently when the unexpected happens. Zarathus watched as Marcus drew new diagrams on the crystal display. His ideas were strange, but made sense. Instead of perfect, beautiful formations, he suggested scattered, flexible positions that could adapt when things went wrong. This looks messy, said General Corthalan, the head of Veltar's military. War is messy, Marcus replied. Pretty formations get people killed. At first, the Veltari officers resisted Marcus's suggestions. They had defended their world for thousands of years with traditional methods. Why should they listen to a primitive human? But Zarathus supported Marcus's ideas, and slowly, The officers began to see the wisdom in his approach. We will create backup communication systems, Marcus explained to a group of commanders, not just crystal-based ones. We will use radio, waves, light signals, even messenger birds if necessary. Messenger birds, General Corthalin asked with surprise. Low technology that cannot be easily disrupted, Marcus said. Sometimes the simplest methods work when complicated ones fail. As the days passed, Zarathis found herself spending more and more time with Marcus. She taught him how to use Veltari crystal technology, and he taught her about human military tactics. Your crystals are amazing, Marcus said one evening as they worked late in the laboratory. They respond to thought and emotion. On Earth, we have to build everything by hand. Zarathis watched Marcus place his hands on a communication crystal. To her surprise, the crystal glowed softly under his touch. How are you doing that? She asked. Humans are not supposed to have psychic abilities. Marcus looked at his hands in wonder. I do not know. When I focus on what I want the crystal to do, something happens. It feels ... warm. Try this one, Zarathis said, bringing him a larger crystal that controlled shield generators. Marcus concentrated, and the crystal began to pulse with a steady blue light. But the pattern was different from normal Veltari control. It was more ... organized. Interesting, Zarathis murmured. Your thoughts create very structured patterns. Most Veltari crystal work is flowing and artistic. Yours is precise and logical. Is that bad? Marcus asked. No, it is different. And different might be exactly what we need. That night, they sat on the palace balcony, looking up at the stars. The sky was darker now, with more empty spaces where stars used to shine. Tell me about your world, Zarathis said quietly. Marcus was silent for a moment. Earth is very different. From Veltar, we do not have floating cities or singing crystals. Our cities are built on the ground, with metal and stone and glass. It sounds harsh, Zarathis said. It can be, but it is also beautiful in its own way. We have blue oceans and green forests, mountains that touch the clouds. My hometown has cherry trees that bloom with pink flowers every spring. Zarathis tried to imagine a world without crystal technology. How do your people live without advanced technology? We make tools, Marcus said. We build machines. We work together to solve problems. When something breaks, we fix it or build something better. And the wars, she asked carefully. Are humans really as violent as the reports say? Marcus sighed. Yes and no. We do fight wars, too many wars. But we also fight to protect things we love. My grandfather fought against tyrants who wanted to enslave free people. My parents worked to build peace between warring nations. I became a soldier to defend those who cannot defend themselves. Is that why you agreed to help us? Zarathis asked. To defend those who cannot defend themselves. Marcus looked at her. At first, yes. But now ... Now I want to help because I have seen your people. You are not just another mission to me anymore. Something warm stirred in Zarathis' chest. You are not what I expected either, Marcus Chen. They worked together for another week, combining Veltari technology with human tactical thinking. Marcus organized the military into smaller, more flexible units. Each unit had backup plans for their backup plans. Each position could support the others, or fight alone if necessary. Meanwhile, Zarathis helped Marcus understand crystal technology. She was amazed at how quickly he learned. His human mind worked differently than Veltari minds, creating new ways to use their ancient tools. Look at this, Zarathis said one day, showing him a crystal array that managed power distribution. If you focus here, you can redirect energy from damaged systems to working ones. Marcus studied the crystals carefully. When he touched them, they responded with mathematical precision. What if we connected multiple arrays, created a network that could automatically balance power across the entire defense grid? Automatically, Zarathis asked. Without conscious control, your crystals respond to thought, Marcus said. What if we program them with specific thoughts? Teach them to make certain decisions on their own. It was a completely new idea. Veltari always controlled their crystals directly, with mind and will. But Marcus suggested creating crystals that could think for themselves, following rules and responding to changing situations. Working together, they created the first automatic defense crystal. It was programmed to balance shield power, redirect energy when systems failed, and coordinate with other crystals without constant supervision. Remarkable, said Elder Vishara, when they demonstrated the new system to the mate. This combination of human logic and Veltari technology creates possibilities we never imagined, but not everyone was pleased with their progress. This is an abomination, declared Lord Thelvis, a powerful noble who led the traditional faction. He stood in the council chamber with 20 other Veltari, all wearing the deep blue robes of the old ways. How can you allow this human to corrupt our sacred technology? Lord Thelvis continued. For 10,000 years, we have kept our crystal knowledge pure. Now you let this primitive alien change everything. The changes are working, Zarathis said firmly. Our defenses are stronger than ever? Stronger. Lord Thelvis laughed coldly. You have made them impure. Human thoughts pollute our crystals. Human ideas corrupt our military traditions. This alliance will weaken us, not strengthen us. The prophecy is clear, Elder Vashara said. The union of our peoples is necessary. The prophecy is a lie, Lord Thelva shouted. Created by those who want to destroy Veltari purity. We have always been strong alone. We do not need help from inferior beings. Marcus stepped forward. Lord Thelvis, I respect your traditions. But traditions that cannot adapt will not survive what is coming. Do not speak to me, human, Lord Thelvis spat. You have no right to address your betters. The tension in the room grew thick. Zarathis could see the division among her people. Half supported the alliance with Marcus, believing it was their only hope. The other half followed Lord Thelvis, believing that Veltari purity was more important than survival. We will not allow this corruption to continue, Lord Thelvis declared. The traditional faction calls for the immediate removal of all human influence from our defense systems. That would be suicide, General Corthalan said. The new systems are integrated throughout our defenses. Better to die pure than live corrupted, Lord Thelvis replied. As the argument continued, Zarathis noticed something troubling. Several of the traditional faction members were quietly using their personal crystals to send messages. They were planning something. She caught Marcus's eye and saw that he had noticed too. His soldier's instincts were warning him of danger. The council is dismissed, Elder Vashara said finally. We will continue this discussion tomorrow. But as the nobles left the chamber, Zarathis felt certain that tomorrow might be too late. The traditional faction was not planning to wait for more discussions. They were planning to act. That night, as she and Marcus worked late in the crystal, laboratory alarms suddenly began to sound throughout the palace. Princess? Captain Thelmas burst into the room. The traditional faction has seized the primary defense station. They are demanding the immediate expulsion of all human influence from Veltar. Marcus stood up quickly. They chose the worst possible time for a civil war. Why? Zarathis asked. Marcus pointed to the long-range sensors. A new alert was flashing red. Because the Void Swarm has just entered our star system. The alarms screamed through the Crystal Palace as Princess Zarathis stared at the sensor displays in horror. The Void Swarm had arrived at the edge of their star system, a massive cloud of darkness that seemed to eat the very fabric of space itself. How long do we have? She asked Captain Thelmas. 6 hours before they reach Veltar, he replied grimly. Maybe less. Marcus studied the incoming threat on the screens. We need to activate all defense systems immediately. Where is General Corthalan? That is the problem, Captain Thelmas said. Lord Thelvis and the traditional faction have taken control of the primary defense station. They locked out our command codes and arrested the general. Wadzek could not believe what she was hearing. In the middle of an invasion, they claim the human corruption has made our defenses weak, Captain Thelmas explained. They want to fight using only pure Veltari methods. Marcus ran his hands through his hair in frustration. They just sabotaged their own planet's defense. In the face of extinction, how is that logical? Fear makes people do stupid things, Zarathis said, remembering Marcus's earlier words. We have to regain control of the defense station. Princess, came Elder Vashara's voice over the communication crystal. Report to the council chamber immediately. The traditional faction has made demands. In the council chamber, Lord appeared on a large crystal screen. Behind him, Zarathis could see the control room of the primary defense station. Princess Zarathis, he said with a cold smile. The time has come to choose between your people and your alien pet. Lord Thelvis, you are committing treason, she replied angrily. I am saving our race from corruption, he said. The human will be transported off-world immediately. All of his modifications to our defense systems will be removed. We will face this threat as proud Veltari, not as hybrid abominations. On the screens around the chamber, they could see the Void Swarm growing larger. It moved like a living thing, reaching out with dark tentacles that seemed to pull stars into nothingness. You are going to get everyone killed, Marcus said quietly. Silence, human. Lord Thelvis snapped. Your time on Veltar is over. Guards, arrest the alien. Armed Veltari soldiers entered the chamber, but Captain Thelmas and his loyal guards moved to protect Marcus. I serve the princess, not the traditional faction, Captain Thelmas declared. As do I, said Commander Velfix, stepping forward with more soldiers. The chamber filled with tension as two groups of armed Veltari faced each other. In the middle stood Zarathis, forced to choose between two paths for her people. Elder Vashara spoke urgently. Lord Thelvis, please reconsider. The prophecy is a lie created by those who want to weaken us. Lord Thelvis interrupted. We have always been strong alone. Alone is exactly how you will die, Marcus said. The Void Swarm has destroyed 67 worlds that thought they were strong enough alone. Suddenly, the palace shook. Through the crystal walls, they could see the first wave of the Void Swarm reaching the outer defense platforms. It has begun, Elder Kashinda whispered on the screens. They watched in horror as the outer platforms fired their most powerful weapons at the approaching darkness. The crystal energy beams struck the Void Swarm, and simply disappeared. Not deflected or absorbed, they ceased to exist entirely. Then the darkness touched the first platform. The massive structure did not explode or break apart. It simply faded away, as if it had never been built at all. Impossible, Lord Thelvis breathed. Our weapons should. The second platform vanished. Then the third. The traditional defenses were failing exactly as Marcus had predicted. Lord Thelvis, Zarathus said urgently through the communication crystal, you have seen what happened to our outer defenses. Please, let us help you. But before he could answer, something terrible appeared on the screen behind him. A section of the defense station began to flicker, as if reality itself was becoming uncertain. The station is compromised, someone shouted in the background. Lord Thelvis turned around, just as part of the control room faded into nothingness. Several traditionalist officers simply stopped existing, leaving empty spaces where they had been standing. Evacuate the station, General Corthalan's voice came over the speakers. All personnel, evacuate immediately. The communication went dead. The primary defense station, the most powerful military installation in Veltar space, was gone. We have lost primary command and control, Captain Thelmas reported grimly. The Void Swarm is approaching the middle defense ring. Marcus was already moving. Princess, I need access to the automated crystal networks we built. They are our only chance now. But Lord Thelvis said his people removed your modifications, she said. They tried to remove them, Marcus replied with a small smile. But they did not understand how the systems really work. The automation crystals are still there, hidden in the main network. Zarathus felt a spark of hope. What do you need? Direct access to the heart chamber, Marcus said, the planet's central crystal core. If we can connect the defense networks through the heart, we might be able to coordinate a response. Elder Vishara looked shocked. The heart chamber is forbidden to outsiders. No non-Voltari has ever been allowed inside. Then change the rules, Marcus said urgently, because your old rules are about to get everyone killed. The palace shook again as more defense platforms vanished. Through the windows, they could see the darkness spreading across space, approaching the planet's gravity well. The middle defense ring is engaging, Captain Thelmas reported, but their weapons are having no effect either. Zarathus watched her world's defenses disappear one by one. The beautiful, perfect systems her people had built over thousands of years were useless against this enemy. Take us to the heart chamber, she commanded. Princess Elder Vashara began. Now, Zarathus's voice carried the full authority of the royal bloodline. They ran through crystal corridors as the palace shook around them. Emergency lights flashed as sections of the building began to flicker like the defense station had. The heart chamber was deep beneath the palace, protected by layers of crystal barriers and ancient locks. As they descended, Zarathus felt the weight of 10,000 years of tradition pressing down on her. Are you certain about this? She asked Marcus as they reached the final door. No, he said honestly, but I am certain that doing nothing will mean the end of your world. The massive crystal doors opened, revealing the heart of Veltar. It was a chamber carved from a single enormous crystal, pulsing with soft light that seemed to come from within the planet itself. In the center sat a crystal formation that looked almost like a throne. The heart of Veltar, Elder Vashara said reverently. The living core of our world, sleeping for 10,000 years. Marcus approached the crystal formation carefully. How do we wake it? The prophecy spoke of union, Zarathus said. The joining of crystal and carbon, thought and feeling. She placed her hands on the central crystal. It warmed under her touch, but nothing else happened. Marcus joined her, placing his hands beside hers. The crystal grew brighter, but still the heart did not wake. Above them, the palace shook more violently. The void swarm was breaking through the final defense ring. It is not enough, Zarathus said desperately. We are touching the same crystal, but we are not truly united. Marcus looked into her eyes. The prophecy said union of peoples, not just alliance. Maybe it means something deeper. What do you mean? On my world, there are stories of warriors who could share thoughts and feelings, become stronger together than apart. Maybe that is what the heart needs. Zarathus understood. You want to merge our minds through the crystal? It is dangerous, Marcus admitted. We might lose ourselves in each other, but if we do not try, ... double quotes, another violent shake. Through the crystal walls they could see darkness beginning to seep into the upper levels of the palace. Together then, Zarathus said, placing her forehead against the crystal. Marcus did the same. The moment their minds touched through the heart of Veltar, everything changed. Zarathus felt Marcus's memories flow into her, his childhood on Earth, his training as a soldier, his determination to protect innocent people. She experienced his love for his blue sky world and his growing affection for Veltar. Marcus felt her memories in return, the weight of royal responsibility, her fear for her people, her amazement at discovering that humans were not what she expected. He felt her love for her crystal world and her growing trust in him, but more than memories, they shared understanding. Their minds worked together, creating new thoughts neither could have had alone. The heart of Veltar blazed with brilliant light as it finally awakened after 10,000 years of sleep. As their minds joined through the heart of Veltar, Princess Zarathus and Captain Marcus Chen experienced something beyond their wildest dreams. The crystal around them blazed with light that seemed to come from the very soul of the planet. The fusion of their consciousness. Zarathus saw through Marcus's memories of Earth, vast blue oceans, green forests reaching toward yellow sunshine, cities built by human hands working together. She felt his wonder at Veltar's crystal beauty, but also his soldiers' determination to protect innocent lives. Marcus experienced Zarathus's deep connection to her world. He felt the song of the crystals, the way they responded to thought and emotion. He understood the weight she carried as a princess, responsible for millions of lives. But more than that, he felt her courage in choosing to trust him despite everything her people had taught her. Their combined consciousness expanded outward, touching the sleeping mind of Veltar itself. What they discovered shocked them both. The planet was alive, not just supporting life, but actually living and thinking in a way neither of their species had understood. Veltar was ancient beyond measure, a guardian world created in the early days of the galaxy to stand against threats, like the Void Swarm. I have been waiting, the planet's voice whispered in their joined minds, waiting for the union of wisdom and strength, of crystal song and carbon determination. The children of two worlds, united in purpose, through the planet's memories, they saw the truth. Long ago, when the galaxy was young, an ancient race had created guardian worlds like Veltar to protect against the Void Swarm. But each guardian needed both technological mastery and tactical wisdom to awaken fully. The Veltari had the technology and psychic connection. Humans had the tactical thinking and adaptability. Alone neither was complete. Together they could wake the Guardian and save not just Veltar but potentially the entire galaxy. Show us how, Zarathus whispered through their mental link. Together, Veltar replied. Think as one, feel as one, fight as one. Above them, the palace shook as the Void Swarm pressed closer. Through the planet's senses, they could feel the darkness touching the upper atmosphere, making reality itself unstable. Marcus focused his mind on tactical patterns, defensive grids, communication networks, adaptive strategies. Zarathus added her crystal mastery, her psychic connection to every piece of Veltari technology on the planet. Together their combined consciousness reached out to touch every defense system, every communication relay, every weapon platform. Automated crystals Marcus had hidden in the network responded instantly. But now, powered by Veltar's awakening heart, they became something far greater than simple machines. They became extensions of the Guardian's will. All across the planet, crystal defenses blazed to life with new purpose. But these were not the same elegant weapons the Veltari had always used. These were hybrid systems, combining crystal power with human tactical doctrine. All units, this is Princess Zarathus. Her voice rang out through every communication system on the planet. But it was also Marcus's voice, speaking with shared authority. The heart of Veltar has awakened. Follow the new tactical patterns being downloaded to your systems. On the surface, General Corthalin looked in amazement as his command displays filled with new information, battle plans that adapted in real time, weapon systems that could change their nature based on enemy response, shield networks that learn from each attack. Incredible, he breathed. These are not our old strategies. They are better, Commander Velthic replied, studying the tactical data. They combine our strengths with human adaptability. In space, the Void Swarm pressed against Veltar's gravity. Well, the darkness reached out with tendrils that made space itself uncertain. But as it touched the planet's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. The heart of Veltar pulsed with brilliant light, and reality around the planet became solid and stable. The Void Swarm's tendrils, which had dissolved every other defense, could not penetrate this field of stabilized existence. The Guardian field is active, Veltar whispered to the joined minds, but it needs constant focus to maintain. The enemy will adapt and try to break through. Marcus and Zarathus worked together through their mental link. His tactical mind analyzed the Void Swarm's attack patterns, while her crystal mastery channeled power through the planet's defenses. They fought as one consciousness with two specialties, each strengthening the other. The Void Swarm sensed the threat and concentrated its full power against Veltar. The darkness pressed against the Guardian field like a living thing, trying to find weakness, trying to corrupt the stable reality around the planet. It is learning, Marcus observed through their link. Then we must learn faster, Zarathus replied. They adapted their defense and when the Void Swarm tried to penetrate the field from one direction, they reinforced that area while opening new offensive possibilities from another. When it attempted to corrupt their communication systems, they shifted to backup networks that operated on different principles entirely. Hour by hour, they fought the ancient enemy with new tactics. The Guardian field held, but the strain was enormous. Both their minds felt stretched to the breaking point. We cannot maintain this forever, Zarathus said. We do not need forever, Marcus replied. Just long enough. Long enough for what? Look at what we have created. Through the planet's senses, Zarathus saw what Marcus meant. The Guardian field was not just protecting Veltar, it was healing the damaged space around them. Areas where reality had become uncertain were becoming solid again. The field was growing stronger, not weaker. The heart is learning too, she realized. More than learning, Marcus said, it is teaching other worlds how to resist. Across the galaxy, other guardian worlds that had slept for millennia began to stir. They sensed what was happening at Veltar and started to awaken their own defenses. Ancient networks, long forgotten, began to activate. The Void Swarm sensed this too. Its attention turned away from Veltar as it realized the greater threat. For the first time in E&C's expansion was not just being stopped, it was being reversed. Slowly, the darkness began to retreat, moving back toward the galactic rim where it had originally come from. The threat was not destroyed, but it was contained and weakened. Other worlds would have time to prepare, time to build their own defenses. In the heart chamber, Marcus and Zaratheus slowly separated their minds. The crystal between them pulsed with gentle light as they opened their eyes and looked at each other. Are you? Zaratheus asked softly. Marcus nodded, though he felt changed. I am still myself, but I understand so much more now. Astu. She agreed. She could still feel the echo of his memories, his thoughts, his feelings, but her own identity remained intact. Elder Vashara entered the chamber with tears of joy in her eyes. The Void Swarm is retreating. Other worlds across the galaxy are sending messages of thanks. You have not just saved Veltar, you have given hope to countless civilizations. In the days that followed, the full impact of their victory became clear. The traditional faction, led by the humbled Lord Felvis, formally apologized and accepted the alliance with humanity. They had seen firsthand that cooperation made both species stronger. Marcus was granted citizenship on Veltar and made a general in their military. His tactical knowledge, combined with Veltari technology, began training programs that would help other worlds prepare for future threats. Zaratheus became the first Veltari ambassador to Earth, working to build bridges between the two civilizations. The partnership that began with an ancient prophecy grew into something that would reshape the galaxy. 3 months later, they stood together on the palace balcony where they had first shared stories of their worlds. The night sky was bright again, filled with stars that the Void Swarm had returned when it retreated. Do you think the prophecy was real? Zaratheus asked. Or did we create our own destiny? Marcus took her hand, feeling the warm glow of her crystal-touched skin. Does it matter? We chose to trust each other. We chose to work together. Everything else followed from that choice. The matriarchs want to know when we will formalize our union, she said with a smile. When you are ready, Marcus replied. We have already proven that two different worlds can become something greater together. The ceremony is just a celebration of what we have already accomplished. Above them, Veltar's twin moons shone down on a world that had learned the greatest truth in the galaxy, that differences are not weaknesses to be overcome, but strengths to be combined. The Princess of Crystals and the Warrior of Earth had shown that the future belonged not to any single species, but to those wise enough to stand together. Their world had changed when she learned that the human warrior was her rightful husband. But more than that, the galaxy itself had changed when two peoples chose cooperation over fear, understanding over prejudice, and love over the darkness that threatened them all.